You know, American agriculture is this absolute global powerhouse, but let's be honest, its infrastructure is, well, it's old. It's struggling to keep up with the 21st century. So today we're going to dive into a massive $750 million project that aims to build a true digital gateway for the entire U.S. export economy.
So to really wrap your head around just how big this problem is, think about this one number, 41%. Get this, nearly half of all the agricultural goods that leave the United States have to pass through the infrastructure of a single state. I mean, that creates an unbelievable bottleneck. But as we're about to see, it also creates a massive opportunity.
And that state? It's Louisiana. Think of its river system as the main artery for all of American agriculture. It handles something like 63% of the nation's soybean exports all by itself. So what that means is the efficiency of this one single region directly impacts farmers all across the country, and honestly, it impacts food security around the globe.
And look, this isn't just some theory we're talking about. The market itself is screaming for this change. It's not just about moving more grain anymore. It's about moving it smarter. You see quotes like this from giants like Cargill, and you realize they're shifting their whole model. They need partners who can give them data, transparency, and really sophisticated logistics, not just concrete and steel.
Okay, so that's the problem, and that's exactly where Heliopolis Farms steps into the picture. Their vision is to build that modern solution, a $750 million digital gateway right at the Port of Caddo-Bossier in Louisiana. And the goal here isn't just to build new stuff, it's to build a system that has technology baked right into its DNA from day one. So how are they going to do this? Well, the whole project is built on these three integrated layers. Let's start at the bottom, with Layer 1, the physical foundation. This is the bedrock, the world-class infrastructure core that everything else sits on top of.
Okay, so this physical layer is really made up of 4 key pieces that all work together. A super strategic port location with access to everything, river, road, and rail. Then you have an advanced grain elevator, a massive high-tech cold storage facility, and its own dedicated fleet of trucks. It's a complete physical hub.
All right, let's zoom in a little bit here. The port gives them amazing logistical access. The grain elevator is all about pure speed and efficiency. But that cold storage facility? Whoa, that's a whole different level. We're talking 500,000 square feet, a fully automated lights-out warehouse. That means it runs 24/7 with robots, keeping high-value goods perfectly protected.
And that brings us to the last piece of this physical puzzle, the trucks. Owning a dedicated fleet of 100 brand-new Peterbilt trucks isn't just about having something to move goods with. It's about guaranteeing you have capacity. It's about controlling that super-critical first and last mile of the journey. And it's about making sure these trucks are built to plug right into the digital platform.
All right, so we've got the physical stuff down. Now let's move up to Layer 2. This is what they call the digital nervous system, and it's a platform called Yield IQ. This is the technology that makes all those physical assets smart. So what Yield IQ does is create a digital twin of the entire supply chain. What does that mean? Well, using AI, drones, and all these little IoT sensors, it's watching everything in real time. We're talking soil quality on the farm, the exact temperature inside a shipping container, all of it. This lets it run predictive analytics, which means it can spot a problem like spoilage before it happens.
Now, a huge piece of this digital layer is blockchain. And I know, that word can make people's eyes glaze over. But stick with me. In this case, it's actually pretty simple. Just think of it like a permanent, unchangeable digital diary for every single product. It records every single step of its journey, and no one can ever go back and change it. It creates a trusted, verifiable history.
Let me walk you through how this actually works, step by step. It all starts at the farm, where data from sensors is captured and locked in. The moment it's loaded onto a truck, GPS and telematics data get added to its digital record. In storage, the temperature and humidity are logged. Every handoff is verified. So by the time that product gets to the final customer, they can just scan a QR code and see its entire verified journey, all the way from the farm to their hands. Okay, so we've got the physical foundation, and we've got the digital brain on top of it. That brings us to the third and final layer, the financial engine. This is a platform called PayNetQ, and it uses all that trusted data to completely change how people get paid. So check this out, it's actually genius. Once a shipment of goods is delivered, its arrival is automatically verified by the GPS and sensor data that's already on that trusted blockchain record. The moment the system gets that digital handshake confirming delivery, bam! A smart contract is triggered and the payment is automatically sent. No more paperwork, no more waiting, no more disputes. And you can imagine, the benefits here are just massive. For everybody in the chain. For farmers and suppliers, it slashes the time they have to wait to get paid. For a family farm, that's not just a convenience. That can be the difference between a good year and a bad one. And for banks and lenders, it gives them a totally verifiable audit trail, which reduces their risk and helps unlock cash flow for the whole system. So a vision this huge, this ambitious, it's gotta have a credible plan to back it up, right? So let's talk about the partnerships and how they're gonna make this all happen.
One of the biggest stamps of approval here comes from their partnership with PACCAR. You know, the folks who build Peterbilt trucks. And this is way more than just a sales deal for 100 trucks. It's a deep, technological partnership that really validates the project's forward-thinking vision for logistics.
And this is where things get really cool, like sci-fi cool. The partnership actually includes a state-authorized pilot program for autonomous trucking. These trucks won't just be hauling goods. They're designed to be integrated rolling data hubs, feeding real-time information straight into the blockchain platform. This is literally paving the road for the next generation of logistics. All right, the big question, the $750 million question, literally. How does something this huge get funded? Well, the plan is structured through something called Louisiana Conduit Revenue Bonds. The key thing to know here is that this isn't some risky bet. The funding is secured by long-term contracted revenue from the services the platform will provide.
So when you step back and look at the whole picture, what do you see? You see an investment in the actual backbone of America's future supply chain. It's a perfectly integrated machine where the physical assets, the digital intelligence, and the financial services all feed into and strengthen each other. So let's just quickly recap the 4 big things that make this model so powerful and so smart. First, it's tapping into a market that is absolutely unrivaled. Second, it's a platform model that's incredibly difficult for anyone else to copy. Third, its revenue is de-risked with long-term contracts. And finally, it's all built on a credible, large-scale financial plan. And all of this leaves us with one final, really big question to think about. By fusing modern infrastructure with a digital nervous system and a frictionless financial engine, is the Heliopolis Farms project more than just a port? Could this, right here, be the blueprint for the future of America's entire supply chain?